So I want to start this off by saying this and any video afterwards is not meant to make anybody feel sorry for me, or it's not any way of getting sympathy or anything like that. And it's not directed at anybody or to make anybody feel bad. Okay, so let's clear that real quick. One of the reasons why I'm doing this and other videos and future videos is, one, as a Nigerian, we don't really talk a lot about mental health. Because back in Nigeria, in the generation I was born, if you talk about mental health, is either they take you to Yaba left or Aro. These are mental hospitals, by the way. Or you are taken to church and the pastor prays, lays hand and leg on you to cast out the demons that are possessing you or that are bothering you. But as Nigerians, we don't really talk about mental health. It's not really a topic. Up until recently, it's not something that is openly spoken about. So you don't have a lot of Nigerians accepting that they have mental health problems, even though a lot of us do. Another reason why I'm doing this and future videos is to create awareness about some mental health issues, because we need to start talking about it. Because not just as Nigerians, but as men don't really talk about emotions, feelings, mental health. Why? Because we are programmed to just keep moving, rub dirt on it and keep going. If you cry, you're a wimp. All that BS. So, and one more reason, there's a lot of reasons, but one more reason, main one as a matter of fact, why I'm making this and future videos is for my daughter. Growing up, being raised by my father back in Nigeria, I never knew if he dealt with anything related to mental health, because, like I said, it's not something that is being spoken about, especially back in those early years, 70s, 80s, 60s. Mental health is not something that is openly spoken about. So I'm doing this so that I can actually document my journey. And hopefully, if sometime in the future I'm not here and my daughter needs her father or needs to understand some things, at least for her to know and grow up knowing that her father was not perfect and her father had things and demons he fought with daily, but also know that her father did his best to be the best he could be, not just for himself, but for her as well. Because even though now I'm a grown man, there are times where I wish I could just hear my father's voice or see him rather than looking at old pictures of him. Be nice to see a few videos of him, remember how he was, have a few memories of him to just help me along. So I'm making these videos so that my daughter can see. And if God forbid I'm not here by the time she's growing up, she has memories. She has things to use to, numerous things to use to remember me and to remember our bond. So, that being said, let's begin, shall we? My name is Ayowale, and recently I'd been diagnosed with PTSD, anxiety, depression. But up until recently, I was diagnosed with DID, Dissociative Identity Disorder, which was formerly known as multiple personalities. Yeah, let that sink in for a second. So let's talk about the meaning of dissociative identity disorder. It's a mental health condition. So somebody that has DID has two or more personalities. I'm sure a lot of people used to have a lot of bad things to say about it back in the day, where they will say one personality is good, the other personality is evil and stuff like that. But that's all myth. So, DID. Let's just give a brief introduction, because like I said, I'm making future videos and I'm going to be talking about my journey, especially my mental health journey, especially how I'm learning daily to deal and cope. And I didn't make this video lightly because I've been thinking about this for months. And I actually prayed about it. And every time I keep getting reminded, I should make this video and talk about this, because a lot of people don't talk about it. So, I had a third therapist as of last year. After speaking to me for a few months, she diagnosed me with DID and asked me if I knew what it was. Unknown to her, I'd done some research about it, but I went into therapy to get professional help because I didn't want to rely on my self-diagnosis. So I went looking for help. And let's just say she confirmed what I was thinking. And having dissociative identity disorder is not a bad thing. It's not a terrible thing, but it's not a good thing. It comes with a lot of challenges. But first, let me just give a brief introduction as to what causes DID. Now, a person that has DID, that person, according to multiple researches that I've done and definitions that I've gotten even on Google, the person that has DID has and must have experienced repetitive trauma in their childhood. So meaning the trauma wasn't just once and done. It was something that was a constant thing, that in order for that child to cope with the trauma that the child was constantly going through, they split personalities in order to cope. And in my case, I don't know about others because there are different types of dissociative disorders. Mine is a dissociative identity disorder, meaning I have two personalities. And coming with that, a person with DID, mostly those personalities have their own identity, meaning two personalities, two different personalities. They're not the same. They don't act the same, and they make one person act differently. So, in my case, my personality is split. And up until recently, through therapy and research, I'm able to identify and understand and come to terms with what caused my condition, the trauma I faced in my childhood, because through therapy, I had to face and relive some of those traumas that I went through as a child that even 90% of my family don't even know about. I'm very sure if my mother should find out some of the things I went through as a child, probably bring tears to her eyes. Not probably, because I remember when I told my therapist a few of the things I went through, she started crying. And she broke down and said I had to take a minute to get her composure, because she said, how does a child go through that? Anyway, I digress. So, my personality is split in two. And until recently, I'm able to understand more and identify. But we'll get into that in more videos as the journey proceeds. But I just want to talk about some of the causes of DID. Now, one of the symptoms of DID, lack of sleep. When you have two drivers in one car, everybody wants to take a turn. So the body barely sleeps. And I'm just talking about some of the symptoms that at least I've noticed in my research and I've noticed in myself. Lack of sleep, I barely sleep. Most days I function off about 3 hours of sleep or something. And changes in taste and preference. Yeah. I'm supposed to wear glasses, but there are times when I need my glasses, especially when I'm looking at a computer, and there are times when I just don't need my glasses. But then, memory loss. There are a lot of things about my childhood I don't remember that has been blocked out, because one of the things I've observed as a coping mechanism, when the brain is going through severe trauma, it finds a way to adapt and protect the person or the body from shutting down. So, coping mechanism. So, my brain split in half, split into two basically. And this is something that it's not easy to talk about, not to even say, to admit that you have or you are dealing with, because it comes with a lot of stereotypes, judgment and misunderstanding and misjudgment, especially misunderstanding. So, memory loss, lack of sleep. Another interesting symptom is not knowing your own identity. Growing up as a Nigerian kid back in Nigeria, you're raised to think some certain things and act some certain ways. But with my condition, for a long time, I didn't know what I sounded like. I didn't know what my voice sounded like, if I sounded Nigerian. A lot of people say I don't sound Nigerian. A lot of people say I sound American. A lot of people say I sound British. But that's the thing. I'm not exactly sure what I sound like because I don't know what I sound like. But one thing I can tell for a fact is both my personalities have different voices. And you can tell. And so, like I said, I'll get into that. And I'll get into more detail about my personalities. But I just wanted to start this off because I've been thinking about doing this for a long time, because this is another way of coping with dissociative identity disorder. Talk therapy. But unfortunately, I can't afford therapy anymore and I don't have insurance, so finding other coping mechanisms, which is one of the reasons why I go to the gym a lot. One of my personalities works off pain and rage, because that's all I grew up knowing, pain and rage. So when I'm at the gym, when people see me lifting over 500 pounds, think I'm using steroids or something. No, I'm just working off pure rage and pain, because the pain I'm feeling is nothing compared to what I've endured my whole life. And the rage I'm throwing out, like the Hawk said, I'm always angry. But I've learned how to not be triggered to be angry anymore. Therapy has helped me understand a few more things that I didn't know. Name some things I didn't know how to put to name or put a name on. So I'm embarking on this journey, and this is a journey of self-discovery and acceptance. So let the journey begin.